is your next show?
Mine 2 weeks from now. So November is our last one of the year because I'm not doing another December show.
What is the last show? What are you doing?
We're doing the Sea Witch Market, which is in sponsored by River City Witches. It's in Richmond. We've done that quite a few times. Not the Sea Witch, they do like a different one for every like Samhain's this Sunday.
Yeah.
And then we'll do one which is Sea Witch, which is an interesting time frame. I don't know why they did it.
Well, you said it and it made me think of, do you know about the Sea Witch Festival up in Rehoboth?
No.
They do like this huge like street festival, and it's like the Sea Witch Festival, and it's like, oh, we would kill.
That sounds amazing.
They do like a huge like Halloween parade. It's like the whole town.
So like they do it around this time of year?
Yeah.
I wonder what that is, like about the time frame, because to me it's the wrong time frame.
Well, that it makes sense there because it's the beach.
It's always the beach.
And it's Halloween.
But do you know what I mean?
So it's like a witch at the beach.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
There it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why when you said it, I was like, you're going to Rehoboth? And then when you said Richmond, I was like, what fucking sea is there in Richmond?
There is not one, I don't think.
But a sea of disease.
Yeah, so that's the last one for us for the year because we just came off of the one that you and I just did.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Solid Market. Yeah, I had a blast.
Yeah, that one was in Winchester at Moonface.
Shout out Moonface.
Yeah, Moonface is... I would do... You know what I was so impressed with at that market was the invitation to come to the Yule Market for vendors. That's a big deal to me. Like, that's nice.
No, they do a lot. When they invited me to be on the committee for the Witches Ball for New Year's. Yeah. Handwritten invitation in the mail.
I love that.
So cool.
They put a lot of time and effort into
it. Sent me reeling because I was like, who the fuck is mailing me?
You were freaking out.
I don't get mail.
Who has my address?
Literally, it came in this like really cool envelope with like a big moon on it.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
But that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Like little touches, like your markets that you guys do, the media that comes with that for people, those are really good. Like that's a lot of time and attention put into something.
Yeah. For those listening, I organize my own like vendor events for vendors to come and set up and people to shop. And that's my biggest thing from when I do other people's markets is like, I just don't like when I'm not given at the very least, I'm not saying you have to work up a graphic or something, but at least give me like a landing page that I can screenshot and share to people. Well, like,
I mean, you're basically bringing in all these vendors to do the marketing for you. There's like 40 people.
So why would you not provide them with the material?
Because that's a base that you're never going to reach.
It does the work. It does the work for you if you can like provide. That's why I will never announce a market without a flyer in hand. Yeah. Because I don't want people to start like I want people to be able to share it. Like I'm not just going to announce a date.
Well, and it's hard. Like next year we're going to be super intentional with the markets that we're doing.
Me too.
Because if it's not with the right group, I just no longer trust it, and I cannot waste hours of time anymore.
Mine's that from a business standpoint, and it's also just seeing the effort that I'm putting in onto my... Yeah. So if I don't feel like an organizer is putting in that same level of effort, why am I going to go out of my way to go to it?
Yeah. Kyle and I are going to try and get into Bigfoot Con.
Yes.
Next year.
Shout out Virginia Bigfoot Con. If you're listening, I'm going to send you this episode.
Yeah. We would really like to do that one. Or like other cons.
UFO, Whitville,
Love
Virginia,
it.
UFO Fest. Yeah. I think this will be their third year. They just had their second year.
Yep.
I really want to do that one.
Oddities and Curiosities, I think would be another one too.
The Mothman Festival. Yeah. I want to go do the Mothman Festival so bad.
See, and then I was just saying I would only do one a quarter, and then you and I just named off like 6 of them.
But these are ones that we'd have to travel to, so that would actually work because it would take some doing. Yeah. And mine's just also like with just all of like I just don't have the time to be doing all these markets anymore. Yeah. And
it's money. I don't think people understand how much money goes into a market. It's a lot.
It costs me money to get there.
Costs you money to get there. Costs you money for the table. It costs like you as the person who does the setup. It costs that person the fronting of the venue money. You pay sometimes for garbage removal. You pay for all kinds of stuff.
I will also say this, as a lone wolf, this past like couple months doing markets by myself has been really taking a toll on my body.
It's a lot.
Like it hits me really hard the couple days after where I'm just like wrecked.
And around here, they typically are always on Sundays, which I know for me and my husband is a lot because
you gotta work
by the time we get home, they're like 2 hours away sometimes. By the time we get home, he and I wake up before 4 a.m. to get to work.
I was thinking about you after the Samhain market because I was like, she's just gotta go home and roll right into bed. Like,
we just shove everything in the garage and we go home.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's your biggest pet peeve at a market?
So I sell crystals, right? And when because I've had this happen actually quite a few times, where someone will come up to me and then question a price. And in the exact same like conversation, or sometimes even in the exact same sentence, they will say that they don't know anything about crystals. Oh, well, I don't know anything about this.
Why does it cost $20?
So how would you know a good price?
Right. But why even ask? It's so weird to me. That's cringy to me.
It just baffles me. Like, and I've had people like, oh, why is this? And then that's the end of the conversation. But to then like double down on it and saying that you don't have a knowledge base to even know a good price if it slapped you in the face.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of insulting.
Yeah.
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 What's your biggest pet peeve at a market?
People not understanding what it is and then not taking the time to ask. They'll verbalize. So, like, we were talking about in a previous episode, I just mentioned, like, we had our transit tables out, which, as much as you can be religious, you can't deny that
planets exist.
You can't, and you can't say that stars don't exist and constellation patterns, it's science.
Right.
And a lot of people will be like, oh my god, a Ouija board. And it's like, you don't even know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, that to me just pet peeves me a little bit, just because, say you were with somebody who also didn't know, like,
they now think that that's a Ouija board.
Yeah, isn't it? Or like, is that it's demonic? And it's like, I make candles. Like, stuff like that. Or, I can make that. Cool, me too. That's why I'm here. Then
don't make it.
And I don't mind that people are creative, like, at all. I would love, but a lot of people, especially in the candle place, you know, a lot of people will be like, well, what do you use? Well, where do you get your wicks from? Where do you get your fragrance oils from? Where do you get your jars from? And I'm like...
So you can make the exact same candle?
And I don't even mind, like, if you asked me, because you wanted to actually curate your own candles, and I knew that you wanted to do it intentionally, I would never mind sharing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I did so much research and testing into that I would never just... I would help somebody by being like, soy wax is what I use. Here's my temperature.
But I'm not going to send you the link to purchase what I use.
Yeah, or if you really wanted to start a business and like you were looking for somebody to just like bounce things off of, I would gladly help you. But at a market, I don't think is the right place for that.
Oh no, absolutely.
So that is different now. Like Angry Buddha, we're burning her candle right now, and I'm also burning Kim's candle from Weird Holistics.
And you had incense going earlier.
Yeah. So but shout out to two other small businesses that I can link. But, you know, Kim and I bounce ideas off of each other all the time. I complimented Mercedes on her stuff too, and she like freely told me something, and I was like, she didn't even have to do that. Yeah. But it's like a trust that you develop with people.
Yeah, because you obviously want. I mean, it's like a community. You want your fellow candle people to do better. Like whenever I go to
like crystals, I would never come up to you and be like, "Where'd you get these?"
Exactly. It's
so
and
weird.
It's the same principle of like, I don't roll into a market and be like, "Oh my god, there's another crystal person here. I need to leave," or "I'm not going to do so well."
That's another good one.
No. I'm not like that.
I'm old. Mercedes and I would root for Mercedes. I would support Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like, I would never care. We make the same things, and her stuff is
same.
Cool.
That's what I do. Like, if I'm at a market with another crystal person and someone comes up interested in crystals, guess what the first thing I'm doing? Hey, did you know there's another crystal booth over there that you should go check out if you're interested in them? Like... Yep. Yeah, we all got to have each other's backs in the small business world.
Yes.
I wanted to say also, because you had said something about, like, when somebody, like, asks you a question how something works, that's another big pet peeve for me. When somebody asks how something works, and then they're immediately, like, you can tell they're not listening.
Especially in the mall space.
It drives me nuts. Yeah, because it does require a little bit of, like, an explanation. And I can tell it going in one ear and out the other. And I'm like, why did you even bother asking the question then? Did you want to know?
Do you do, like, pamphlets or anything?
It's something I've been, like, wanting to work on since, like, the beginning of the business.
Because malls are a serious thing.
Oh, yeah. And because I could do, like, a little, like, how-to guide, like, philosophy of a mala, how to use it.
Or how to make it. Like, what you do is a lot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's something I really need to work on. Shout out Fleetwood Vintage, now that I'm moving into her storefront.
Love her.
I'm going to have, like, stuff actually, like, sitting out, like, at any given time, so I do need to have like mala like info because you know what I mean. Yeah. I'm not gonna leave that up to her to sit there and explain that. No,
she just supports you, not the
and it also needs to have my info on it. So if people,
I love that for us.
A little pop-up shop. I'm excited.
We'll link everybody below. So
yeah, it'll be in the notes.
Visit. But yeah.
What are you talking about today?
I am going to talk about another voodoo killer.
Another?
I know we say another, but this one isn't like doll related. It's religion related, kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. Like, what you learn about her is definitely more...
She's just doing voodoo.
Kind of, yeah.
Work.
She's detailed. She's a detailed killer.
Word. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this one the scene is set in Macon, Georgia in 1958.
Georgia.
There lived a restaurateur. Her name is Anjette Lyles. Macon is described as a sleepy ghost town type. Anjette was the only daughter of the Donovan family.
Okay.
They were a very well thought of family. Anjette became a wife to a veteran named Ben Lyles in 1947, which was, they just got a house right after that, and then they had a baby right after that. Her name was Marcia.
Just cranking it out.
Basically. Ben's mother also lived with them, and she owned a restaurant called Lyles.
Okay.
Ben owned the restaurant, but his mother, Julia, who lived with them, she was, like, basically the manager.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in town really loved that place. There was tons of downtown workers who would visit it for lunch, like, on the daily.
It was, like, the spot.
Yep. Ben unfortunately suffered from alcoholism. When his mother became sick and she needed surgery, he took over full time, but he nearly ran it into the ground.
Oh, so he wasn't good.
Well, he was an alcoholic, so...
Oh, duh.
Yeah, so Anjette had to begin working for Ben because he was seemingly unfit at the time. She actually took her baby to work with her.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Ran the restaurant while he was home drinking. But she did fall in love with the business part of it, which was good. So it wasn't like hard. Okay. It wasn't bad for her because she actually really liked it.
So she got some enjoyment out of it.
Yep. So time passes, and then in May of 1951, they have a second daughter named Carla.
Okay.
Ben was still suffering from his addiction.
Ugh.
And then after a car crash, he actually sold the business for $2,500.
What was that back then?
I mean, this is only in the 50s.
Oh. So not a lot of money.
No.
Damn.
Anjette was, like, seemingly livid.
I bet.
Because it's her new calling, right? Like, she finally found where she wanted to be.
And he probably just sold it for booze money.
Exactly. And then they had no money coming in.
Yeah.
So she clearly became pretty vengeful of her husband very quickly.
Oh.
So that led her to turn to arsenic as her secret solution.
That's a pretty... Okay, we go from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah, wait. This lady's going to blow your mind.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Women that want to kill their husbands will find any reason.
Wives with knives. She used ant poison to begin dosing Ben with arsenic.
Okay.
He began getting bloody noses, and he was admitted to the hospital in 1952, where all of his extremities became swollen. So... just keep in mind, like, he's still an alcoholic at the time, and then you're mixing poison on top of this.
So he's just, like, retaining
his
water.
Veins and lymphatic systems were basically shutting down. His renal system stopped working completely.
He wasn't purging anything.
Yep, and 2 days after being admitted, he basically succumbed to his condition. Doctors said that he died horribly. Like, he was in terrible pain, terrible suffering.
Can I make a really bad joke?
Sure.
Did you ever see that SpongeBob episode where he gets the suds?
Yes. And they just keep coming out. Oh my
God. And
God.
Patrick just puts the corks in him and he swells up. Was it like that?
Barely.
He just swelled up.
Oh, that's terrible. But nobody suspected murder.
Well, yeah, why would you?
Right. So they only assumed that his alcoholism had caused all of it.
Yeah.
Anjette moved back in with her parents with her 2 children because she still had them. And then Ben's mother, Julia, would still visit them.
Okay.
3 years passed, and she saved enough money to buy back Lyles, the restaurant.
She wanted it.
Yep. She then renamed it Anjette's.
Good for her.
Yep. Anjette's restaurant was extremely popular. A lot of people knew her. They liked her really big...
They're like, oh, yeah, she's back.
Yep. They liked her big personality. There was a major airport that wasn't too far away, and a lot of pilots would come in on their lunch breaks or in between trips and visit. So
she really was that bitch.
Anjette found her new husband named Buddy.
A pilot?
Yep.
Ah.
Buddy was 26 years old. His real name was Joe. And he fell head over heels for Anjette.
Until he woke up dead.
Well,
Am I right?
They dated for a few months, and then they became husband and wife in 1955.
Okay.
4 months after being married, Buddy went into routine surgery for wrist injury, and then he would wind up to a similar demise as Ben. You see, the husband comes with a life insurance policy, and Jet really wanted it. November 3rd, when Buddy had his surgery, he was visited by his wife for an overnight stay, and was brought the ant poison into the hospital to administer. He woke up with a massive rash all over his body, and then the body was trying to release his toxins, obviously. Buddy had actually asked his nurse to strap his hands to the bed so he wouldn't itch his skin off. Yeah, he recovered after a 10-day stay in the hospital. However, Anjet was definitely not going to let him leave.
She's like, that's not how that was supposed to work.
Nope, she wasn't going to let him live, and she continued to dose him when he came home to recover. His doctors couldn't figure out at all what was happening, and after a month of dosing, he died.
A month?
A month. So, two-time widow Anjet continued her life once again. As you can imagine, she had a lot of help surrounding her because nobody knew what was happening, and everybody just saw...
just like, oh, this poor lady.
Yep. And then Anjet found her next victim.
Oh, no.
Grandma Julia.
Grandma?
Yep, Ben's mother.
Ben's mom.
She became very ill with similar symptoms, and Anjet looked like a saint, however, because she was basically taking care of all of these sick people around her, and nobody knew why.
Was Veruca the one that blew up? Everyone's like, why is everybody
Yes.
Veruca assaulting around this bitch? Like, why is everybody just blowing up?
But, I mean, I guess in the 50s, people didn't think that hard. I don't know.
I would think by the third one, I'd be like,
Well, just wait. So, restaurant workers caught on to something strange. Though,
okay, about time.
Because somebody witnessed Anjet making a buttercream for something to take to Julia. And they saw her put something in, which basically was laced with arsenic, but nobody knew. But they just thought,
that's not a buttercream ingredient.
Somebody just thought, that's kind of weird. I wonder what that was. But nobody really said anything.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know what they saw.
Yeah.
So Julia passed away shortly after.
And everyone's like, okay, no, what did she put in the buttercream?
Yeah. But you have to think about the times back then, too, right? This is still during civil rights movements.
Well, I was going to say, is that why she, enjoyed the business side of it so much? Because this is when women couldn't even, have credit cards. So she's like, I'm a woman getting to do things.
True, but the people that are working there actually need the jobs, and they're not white most of the time. So they don't want to say things to rumble.
Well, you don't want to call out back then you don't want to call out your boss anyway, because you can't mess up your income. Yep. And then if your boss is a white lady.
Exactly. Yeah. So they actually talk about that later, but Julia did pass away. Just when you think it's done.
So basically what you're saying is more people could have been seeing stuff going on and just not been saying anything.
Yeah, because they were too afraid.
Yeah.
More people of color.
So we don't know how
way too
actually sneaky she was being.
Yep. So she was not done on her killing streak. Marcia was 9 years old at the time.
The daughter?
Yep, her oldest daughter, and suddenly also became sick.
No.
Now, there were reports saying that Anjet actually really disliked her firstborn daughter because she looked so much like her father.
Oh my god.
She was abusive to her and then decided, hey, I'm going to poison her as well.
What, sins of the father? We're just going to kill this baby?
Yeah, because he sold the restaurant and she ended up looking much like him. Yeah. She was very vengeful.
And we can't have that.
Yep, so she got put in the hospital. She went to the hospital, same as all the others, with a fever and basically the same other symptoms. And just would supply all the food for her while she was in the hospital. And that really started to make the restaurant workers really curious about what was going on.
Yeah.
Marcia never had any mental issues, and yeah, and it affected her brain function so badly that she was saying that bugs were crawling on her and she was hallucinating. Staff finally said that we have to report something. They finally all came together. The housekeeper and the cook had seen what they call tarot ant killer at the house and at the restaurant. And however, given the times and people of color, they had never felt comfortable before, but they finally decided we have to do something
at this point.
So anonymous letters began circulating to the family out of town saying, somebody please needs to come quick. Marcia needs help. So family did alert authorities.
I would have said something to the hospital. Like, start feeding this kid the food from the hospital.
I think they wanted to send it out of town so it would come back. Like, where, like, if you go to a post office, it gets stamped. Yeah. So they didn't want to speculate, like, where it was coming from.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they decided to alert family because if
and
Aunt
family
Jet
could then
found
do
out
something
that,
to the hospital. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Aunt Jet would find out that her family reported something.
Yeah.
So the family did alert authorities, and it was a little too late, though, because she died.
Marsha died?
Just shy of her 10th birthday.
Oh, she wasn't even 10.
Yeah.
And that's sad because it sounds like it was like messing with her, like it didn't, like her body didn't just shut down, it deteriorated her mind.
Yeah. So doctors thankfully had begun to catch on to the possibility of poisoning. They performed an autopsy.
Probably because she just kept getting worse in the hospital, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
The autopsy where tissue samples came back that were positive for arsenic.
Yeah.
So a search warrant was performed for the home of Aunt Jet where they found the ant poison.
They just found ant killer everywhere.
They also found voodoo paraphernalia.
Oh, that's right. We have to tie it back to the podcast somehow. I'm just like hung up on her killing her whole family.
They found lots of spell bottles, lots of candles, lots of dolls, amongst other things, which obviously the town set on fire because they found out that their favorite restaurateur was a witch.
So they burned her house down?
No.
Oh, you just mean it just
set the town on fire.
Like the news of gotcha.
That would have been nice.
I'm stuck on goosebumps. It was like they went and burned her house.
Yeah. Aunt Jet was arrested for the arrest on all fours.
Well, I would hope that they wouldn't just turn a blind eye.
But get this. This is gonna
no, they couldn't get her on anything.
Worse.
What?
Are you ready for this?
Somebody didn't read her Miranda rights.
After investigating Aunt Jet's life, they revealed that she also murdered her father, stepfather, mother, and sister.
She murdered her mom and dad and her sister?
And her stepfather. And her daughter. And both of her husbands. And her mother-in-law.
How did they find out that she killed after the fact?
She confessed.
She was like, oh yeah, by the way, I killed my mom, dad, and my sister.
So this led the community, obviously shook. Number one, that she was a witch.
Because everybody was, hanging out with her every day.
Number two, that she was into voodoo. And a ton of people were like, did she poison me at her restaurant? That time that I got sick when I went home, did she poison me?
Oh, yeah. You can't attribute it to just, the shits. You're like, she poisoned me.
They were, shook, right?
These ain't no bubble guts.
Yeah. So Charles Adams was the special prosecutor in the case. In 1958, the trial began. One of the most obvious reasons, when the whys started coming out was it was boiling down to life insurance. She had received about $50,000 per person.
So was she taking out the policies before she killed them?
I mean, yeah. I had a life insurance policy before I met Andre, and then you do the beneficiary.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I would think, certain family, why would I go to my sister and be like, hey, name me as the beneficiary in your life insurance policy, and then...
Well, if they don't...
how does that naturally come about?
Well, so if it was a trickle-down effect, right?
Oh, she killed mom and dad first, and then the sister, and then...
And then sister got money or whatever, and then she would have been the next of kin if she wasn't married. She sounds very smart, so...
I mean, yeah.
So I'm assuming she knew what she was doing.
She's not stupid.
But I don't really know. I'm assuming it's next of kin when it's back then, but I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But, I mean... I wouldn't put a life insurance policy on my sister, for my sister.
Well, it's like the Philadelphia poison ring. You know about them, right?
Yeah. But I mean, yeah.
That's crazy just because they would go to married couples and be like, hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
You want to do this?
You know how much you could get for your husband?
Yes.
The fact that they would actually we should do a whole episode on it.
We should, actually.
Because the fact that the women would be like, you know what?
You're right.
Let's do this.
I use a Birkin
Let's do this.
Okay, so 51 witnesses testified against her in court. 51.
Oh, because everyone's like...
Everybody in the whole
I threw up that one time!
One of the workers at the restaurant, who finally was able to testify in court because she felt comfortable enough, said that she definitely saw her put something in the lemonade and the buttercream. And then somebody also testified that they had heard her order the coffin for Marsha before she was even in the hospital.
So she's not that smart.
Well, I guess yeah. So there was no insanity defense angle whatsoever because she was just pure evil.
That's clearly premeditated.
Yeah.
By the 7th time.
She was found guilty on all charges and then sentenced to death through electrocution. She would be the first white woman sentenced to this ever. After an appeal, the governor did say that she was considered insane and could not be executed. And then she was kept in the state hospital. She only died in the 70s.
So they just let her rot?
Yep. And her surviving daughter, because she never got to the last one, Carla.
Survivor's guilt. Oh my God, you know Carla's like...
disappeared and never came back to that town ever again. Never
Carla?
talked to anybody. Yep.
Well, I mean, can you blame her?
Never. No, but I'm just saying, like, she just disappeared off the face of the earth. So I wonder what Carla's real name is.
Or if her mom didn't somehow kill her.
Yeah.
Find a way.
Isn't that
Where there's
wild?
a will, there's a way. That is insane to me.
Well, and nowadays, like, you can't get away with anything, let's face it. Like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
You just can't. I would never try and poison Andre because autopsies, DNA, all that shit's going to be done.
So many. Yeah.
Especially because we do have life insurance policies, right? Like, I mean...
It's like the number, yeah. Well, and whenever, like, yeah, they always look at the spouse. First.
Always first.
So...
Which, they're probably not wrong most of the time.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good reason. I just... that's insane.
There is no right way. There's no way ever right to kill a person, but nowadays there's no way to get away with it. There really isn't. Like,
no.
It is so rare. But she got away. She's a serial killer.
Well, because... Yeah, well, yeah.
So
absolutely.
dad, mom, stepdad, sister, 2 husbands.
And daughter.
Yeah.
7, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Insane.
It makes you wonder, like, who else maybe? Like, say she did start experimenting with poison in the...
So this is what I was getting at. How did, like, you said that she, like, confessed to these after the fact. Just because she was bored? Like, did they pressure her into it?
Yeah.
Like, so, to your point, like, how many...
But say you were...
other ones are there?
Say you were a pilot, right? Because they were next to the airport and you came there on lunch and she was experimenting with poison.
That's what I'm saying.
And you went home.
Yeah.
She would never know that she even killed you.
Exactly.
That's wild.
That's insane.
It is. Isn't that a good one?
Yeah, no, that one's really good.
I think it's wild when they, like, go to her house and find, like, spell bottles and candles and all that stuff and voodoo paraphernalia is how they describe it. And during the 50s, I'm sure that it was, like, they knew what they were looking at. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was something to signify, like,
I was going to say, it has to be an overt, like, there were
sure.
dolls.
Or she told them that.
Uh-huh.
But it's amazing to me that poison, like, was the driving force. Like, and
well,
there was so many different...
If it ain't broke.
Yeah.
You know, worked the first 7 times.
Well, worked the first 4 times and her husband didn't even know.
Yeah.
I could never kill my own kid, though. I think that's
wild.
Husband's different because it's not family. I don't mean like I could kill my husband, but I mean, like, that's your own flesh. Like, you created your kid. That's weird.
And I mean, I know it sounds kind of fucked up, but it's like, even like people killing their parents, it's like your parents are supposed to die before you. Like, I mean, yeah, you're probably not supposed to be the one to take out your parents. From a parent's perspective, it's fucked up if your kid takes you out. But yeah, from like a parent perspective, like, I feel like, isn't that like a circle of hell? Like, no, isn't it?
I don't know.
Because it's like you've created, you brought that in.
And
so who are you to
take it out because you're not God?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Probably.
I feel like
thou shalt not kill thy neighbor.
Is it the 7th or the 9th? No, the 9th is the worst. I think it's the 7th circle.
You know much more about that than I do. I was just always taught.
I used to be obsessed with Dante's Inferno.
Wow, you should do an episode on that.
Oh, I want to.
We should do a different episode for every ring of hell.
Ooh, and like who would be living in those rings of hell? Oh my god, that'd be so fun.
That actually would be a good one.
Hey, you know this terrible person from history? This is what circle of hell they're residing in. That's a good idea. Ooh, that's fun.
You. Yeah.
Ooh, and we should play Infernal Pictionary.
Okay.
I'm just gonna draw demons, and you're gonna have to guess which demon it is.
I love that.
Fun.
I don't know what just made me think about this, but we were talking about demons. You know, the one Buffy episode that haunts me to this day
Ooh, which one? Dirk and Destad?
Hush.
Oh, really?
What were those things? Demons?
The Gentleman. It's a fairy tale. It's an in-universe fairy tale.
I did not like that at all. To this day, I picture the very first time I ever saw that in my head.
Can't even shout, can't even cry. The Gentleman.
And when they go by the window.
Oh, yeah. When Olivia sees them, and she's like, ah!
And saying, to this day, that haunts the hell out of me.
No, that one and the Killed by Death episode fuck people up. The one with the Freddy Krueger looking guy with, with the eyeballs.
Yep.
He's creepy looking.
Yeah, we should do a rewatcher series.
I was going to suggest that for Patreon.
We should do a rewatcher series. Yeah, that would be really good. It would
be a lot of fun.
Charmed would be a great one.
I was just about to say we should do Charmed first, because I am one of those people where it's like Charmed is a very special place in my heart from what I mentioned on a previous episode, my grandma introducing it to me.
Yeah.
But I'm so skeptical of it.
And the podcast name.
Because of yes, absolutely. But because of all the plot holes in Charmed and just like how like love it to death, but how poorly written it is.
It is. It really is. And then like one of my favorite parts of Charmed is like where they're like, oh my god, and they'd speak to you like you know what you're talking, like you've been there the whole time. Mm-hmm. And they just, like, write it in, like, what's happening. They're like, oh, this bottle that I kept in here that was my mom's. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. The reboot, though, way worse.
It is. I watched, like, the first 3 episodes, and I couldn't do it. I really wanted, like, women's empowerment but...
Oh, they were so in your face with it.
It was too much.
That one, like, demon that, like, fed on misogyny, I was like, what the fuck? Can we not? It was like the 3rd episode.
You women.
Like, I was like, oh my god. I did like some of the things that they did with like switching up their powers.
Well, and I like, I would really like a good person, like Goosebumps, right? Mm. The revival of Goosebumps is really good because it's very well done. Yeah. Like as far as aesthetics, as far as cinema magic, as far as acting.
Like that with the Charmed property.
Charmed.
Yeah.
I would like it to be that.
Yes.
Like, yes. Yeah. But people just keep doing revivals and they just make it worse. Like Harry Potter,
Are you scared for that? The series?
I don't even know if I can watch it. I really don't.
When does it come? Is it soon?
Yeah, it's I think in November.
Oh shit, that's like soon.
I mean, it makes sense. They'll put it out before Christmas. They
always do something. But what are they doing? A season, a book?
They're doing like a series.
Yeah.
Based off of like.
Oh, they're gonna drag this shit out. Season 1's gonna be probably like the first half.
Because like
of the
I
book.
Don't like the Grindelwald. I don't like that.
Oh, I didn't like those either.
Because it's again one of those things that I don't get it. How did we get here? Like,
I don't.
In my brain, Dumbledore didn't do any of that shit. It's weird. Crimes of Grindelwald is odd to me. I don't get it.
Oh, you don't like him as a gay man?
Oh,
you don't like him in a gay relationship?
That. Sure,
that's what it's about. We just can't say it because it's a PG-13 movie. I am here for
the gays, the theys, and all of the hays. Okay, I love it all, but they
were lovers.
But I don't understand. That to me is future, not past.
Okay, so
how they filmed it, it's odd.
I think why it's odd is because of the property that they're exploring that story, and they're exploring that property in a Fantastic Beasts new, like, you know what I mean? Like, but then they're shoehorning in this like Grindelwald Dumbledore to connect it to the cinematic universe that everybody knows, because the property itself, that Fantastic Beasts and whatnot, like I know you know what book I'm talking about. It's not a narrative.
No,
there's no story to it.
No,
so they're shoehorning in this cinematic, like, you know what I mean?
My mother-in-law is obsessed.
Yeah.
With those, and I just don't.
Because that's why I've never liked it.
So most people either you like this one or you like that one. You like
Fantastic Beasts or Harry Potter?
Yeah, and they don't
really.
Yeah, and I just don't. I don't get it. Why could we have not made Tales of Beetle the Bard? We could have made that.
That would have been so good.
Yes, that could have been a series.
Because I totally agree with you. I was watching, Crimes of Grindelwald, where it's like is it the nephew or whatever, where he's like an Obscurus or something. Yeah. I was so confused about that whole thing.
Every time I watch that,
because they definitely drop you into the middle of it, and they're like,
every time I watch the movies, I'm like, what are we talking about?
You should know what's going on.
I should.
And I forget who I was watching it with this guy I was seeing at the time, and he was like, "That's Voldemort. That's young Voldemort.
Yeah.
That's young Voldemort." And I literally Googled and I was like, that's not young Voldemort. You're even more confused because
Tom Riddle isn't even in those
That's what I said. I was like, no, Tom Riddle is young Voldemort. Like that's Crazy Flash Kid.
First of all, Dumbledore's whoever that guy was is an idiot, because if you even watch Dumbledore when he meets Tom Riddle,
that's what I said.
They're not even close in age.
That's what I said. I was like, we saw young Voldemort. He's Tom
idiot.
Riddle. Like,
I don't like him.
I don't even like Harry Potter, and I know this shit. Like,
We know why you don't, and that's okay.
Well, I did read all the books.
Yeah.
I was caught up in the... I was
I don't like the author, but...
That's what I'm saying. Now that I know, I don't support.
Unfortunately, I can't take away my childhood. I can't.
See...
And I get, but that for me in a small town was it for me. And I bonded with my mom so hard over the midnight releases of the books. She would take me every time. That lady ripped a book out of somebody's hands one year that tried to get it from Walmart from her.
Oh, I love that.
We went to every showing at midnight.
So it had
you can't take my childhood because somebody's transphobic. Like,
no, I get that.
I
think for me, I'm gonna say something a little problematic in mine. I was obsessed with Buffy and Charmed at the time when Harry Potter came out, and I've learned this about myself as an adult.
Yeah,
a male-centric story, I don't like it.
I get it.
And I only realized that looking back, I was like, I think that's why I never really liked Harry Potter, because it's a male-driven story. And I just don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, was that a good episode for you?
That was fun.
Okay, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
I was like, the more I kept reading about her, I was like, holy Hannah. She kills everybody.
I couldn't take the twist. I was not seeing that twist coming with like, oh yeah, by the way, I killed my whole family. Before I killed my family.
Can you imagine getting away with that for years too in your brain? How that would like help?
It makes sense because that's why she felt so emboldened to kill her husband and kill her next husband and kill her daughter, because she was like, it's proven, honey.
I couldn't live with myself every day of that. Like, what if somebody
She's
knows?
one of those. It is what it is, people.
Know?
She's one of those. That is what it is.
She's an Aquarius.
Did you look up her birthday?
No. I'm going to. I'll put it in the show notes because her astrological sign is probably, she's either a Leo, an Aquarius, or Scorpio. I'm going to bet money on it, and then I'm going to put it in the show notes.
I want to go out on a limb and say that Leos are problematic.
Leo's my rising.
No, I know that, but I'm saying they can be problematic.
I totally agree with that.
Because I think it's that big, bold out there-ness can go two ways.
They're big, bold out there, and then they require a lot of attention. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What you just whispered to me, I liked that.
I know, right?
That makes sense.
I'll have to make sure that that's edited out.
I bet the one is too. Her little is a...
Oh.
Yeah.
I think so. No, I think she's a December birthday.
Oh, even worse.
Are Capricorns bad?
Some of them can be very...
Oh. Oh.
So yeah, keep your evil eye on you. We already know that you need to.
I was going to say, yeah, that's warded to the teeth.
Oif.
So, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, keep it creepy.
Leave a like, a comment, subscribe.
Lots of things in the show notes for this one, and then
we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Love ya.
Bye. A Semi-Charmed Kind of Podcast is hosted by Ashley Williams and Kyle Ugis. Music credits by Chauncey Fortune and art by Decay Decor. Keep listening and keep it cryptid.
We're wrapped in fragile hair.